Well, good evening. So my last video I made a sail for a canoe, as well as a mast rig. And today I am working on a mast partner. What the mast partner is, it's the thing that holds the mast upright in the boat. So mast partner and the mast step. So this is the mast partner. I'm going to do first. And so what I've got here is I have a big piece of hemlock. It was a 2 by 8 by 12. Obviously I don't need all that, so I'm going to cut it down to length. So basically what I'm going to do is it's going to go right there behind the thwart. I'm going to kind of measure and mark there, and then that will be the piece of wood I use for the sailing mast partner. Alright, that is a more manageable piece of wood to work with. Now, I'm just going to trace the shape, the curve of the gunnel. On both sides, because I don't need a whole bunch of board sticking out. So I'm continuing work on the mast partner. So this is the front seat here, the forward thwart. I want to be able to use the front seat. So the furthest forward I can get my mast partner is just after the forward thwart. And I'm thinking inside, bolted to the gunnel is where I want that. But I wanted a really snug fit. I don't want any play. Alright, that's pretty good. So that's just okay. And you can see it's tapered, of course, because the boat is tapered. So nice snug fit. But I don't need to hammer it in or something. Okay. And then it's going to be bolted in place. So the next step, I guess, is to put the hole in for the mast. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet. Okay, and I've found the center this way, so I'll cross. And now I line up the mast stump that I cut off right in the center. Pretty good. I'm going to trace that. Alright, I do believe my next step is going to be to drill holes at each corner. I don't want my drill bit to quite touch the edges. Okay, so there we have it. I don't think I need to do 4 corners. I think I just need to do 2 corners. Now I believe I will get out the saber saw Alright, here I am. I'm just dry fitting the mast partner, so this is before I bolt it in place. Everything's a pretty snug fit. You can see the mast there. Okay, now the mast partner is only half of what keeps the mast up. The other half being, of course, the mast step. Alright, mast step next. Not exactly sure how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to use a solid block of wood. And then I'm going to hollow out the middle, probably with a chisel, I think. Maybe using a combination of a drill and a chisel. Okay, here's kind of a dry fit of the mast partner and the mast step. Obviously I've got to sand the partner and polyurethane it or something. I was going to give the mast partner a nice kind of a contour, but I broke my bandsaw. The bandsaw, I think it's the bearing that went, so and there's no stores open because of because of the plague, so I won't contour the mast partner right now. It's always something I can do later, right? Wood is something, you know, you can modify. Okay, so the time has come. I am going to mount the sailing thwart. Now, the mast step is going to be glued in, so it's going to be pretty permanent, but the this thwart, it's heavy, so I don't want it in there permanently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use mechanical fasteners with just basically bolts with nuts to hold it in place, 2 per side. I think should be plenty with washers. And I'm just going to, bolt it right to the gunnels, and then I can take it out whenever I want. Alright, well there we have it. That's mechanically fastened sailing thwart. It's pretty solid. There's bolts and washers on the ends of these. I got these tapered machine screws. When I get a chance, I'll replace them with something more like that. It's no big deal to change out the screws. Right now, it's the coronavirus is going on, so you know, there's no trips to the hardware store. That's a thing of the past. So right now, got to kind of work with what I have, and that's what I have. But like I said, no big deal to change them out at a later time. I'm going to varnish this, but I wanted to get everything fitted first, so I kind of had a better idea of what I was working with. Okay, so here's the mast. The mast isn't very heavy. Maybe, oh, I'm guessing maybe about 12 pounds. I haven't weighed it, but it's not very heavy. It's a nice, snug fit. Goes. Okay. This is a good idea of where the mast step's going to go. So basically the mast partner holds this part of the mast, and the mast step keeps the bottom from sliding around. Alright, there's the mast step glued in place. I've got a bench vise on top of it, nice and heavy, so it doesn't move around. And I think I better put a tarp over the boat in case it rains. I don't want that getting wet. Okay, so that's how I make a mast partner and a mast step for my homemade sailing canoe. Thank you.